And welcome back to the Let's Talk Baseball podcast. It's your boys, Michael Herrera, joined by Mahal, Domingo-Anderson, my guy. Excited to be back. It's Christmas in July. You know what that time of year is. You know what time it is. It is trade deadline season. Usually a happy thing in the baseball world. Usually a more exciting time in the baseball world. But as me and Mahal were kind of talking about before this, don't know if it's going to be as exciting this year. With obviously, we'll get into it, but the AL's technically wide open. I mean, two teams that we kind of wrote off the Red Sox and the Stros are kind of in it. The Tigers are kind of back in it. It's been a really weird first half, but we're excited to get into it. Excited to talk about some deadline, maybe some mock trades. But first, my man Mahal, how you doing, man? Long time no see.
Hey man, hey man. The World Cup's going on. I've been watching too much soccer.
What's
Baseball world has been an experience. The Mariners are below 500. I want to
yeah.
die in some senses. In other senses, like you said, the American League is wide open. The worst team in the American League, those Anaheim Angels, they're only 10 games back of a
It's just
wild card.
it's
Like,
insane.
it's
It's insane.
ridiculous
It's
what the
insane.
American League looks like.
It's insanity. It's been so crazy. I think we need to formally apologize to the St. Louis Cardinals who we completely written off. I think in baseball, I think they wrote off themselves for being honest. Um, man, what's going on in St. Louis? What's going on in Miami? What's going on in Chicago, the South Side, dude? It's been a lot of fun to see these teams kind of rise. But other than that, I mean, it's the teams you expect to be in it, but it's also not. Like
Hmm.
the Phillies, you expected them to be there, but definitely not after the way they started. Don Mattingly has brought baseball back to life in Philadelphia. Shout out Don. The Dodgers, Brewers doing their thing. Yankees kind of doing their thing without Judge, kind of not. Rays, who again always find a way. Junior Caminero, the truth. The AL Central, AL West, man, I have no idea. No, that's
Don't
more.
disrespect the Mariners like that.
I'm not disrespecting the Mariners. I love the Mariners, but I think you would agree this is not how you expected, where you expected your season to be come July 16th.
No, I mean, I'm at the point where I've been talking about firing Dan Wilson since the first week of the season.
Whoa,
And
really?
I mean, I'm at the point where I have to stop talking about it because it's not going to happen with the Mariners ownership. And it's a disappointment. It's been a failure. But our top four hitters have contributed nothing. Donovan's been hurt. Julio's
Yeah,
been up and down. He's been first half. Cal Raleigh has been, I don't even know what he's been, to be honest. Joey Gallo in 2026, who is not even in baseball anymore. It's the same type of thing. I mean, he looks lost. The WBC broke him. Donovan's been hurt. Julio's been doing Julio. Naylor's been up and down. It's not where you expect to be. But at the same time, like, there's not another team in the American League West to me that's going to win that division.
there's definitely not. I would have to agree with you there. Like, I think, the Astros are always kind of gonna be around there, and they'll probably make some moves. Trade Lance McCullers to the Brewers, who probably is gonna have a sub 1 ERA in 60 innings, because that's what the Brewers do. Even though he has like a 7 ERA right now. But yeah, no, I mean, if you told me the Mariners would win the AL West still, I would not be surprised. To me, they're my favorites. I think the Rangers' offense lacks a lot, in my opinion. I think Langford's the injuries plural this year, have just really like if Langford was fully healthy this year, I will be honest with you, Mahal. I think the Rangers have a slightly bigger lead in the AL West, just because of what he means to that team and what he's done for them in the small sample size he has been. But the Mariners, I think, are still my favorites. Before we get into some trade deadline talk, I do want to ask you, because again, you're Mariners, you know about this team. Because as from the outside looking in, the whole piggyback situation and storyline that came out
Right.
with the starters, can you kind of just explain it for me? Because I was still a little bit lost of what exactly happened there. What was the plan? If that's still going, can you I'm just
Yeah.
genuinely curious.
So, I mean, the whole problem, right, is what Emerson Hancock has done. Emerson Hancock has been
Phenomenal.
absolutely
All star
unbelievable.
snub.
I mean, in some ways, absolutely. I mean, he's been a little bit worse as of late, but it's still a 3.17 ERA through 18 starts. Like, he's been unbelievable, starting almost 100 innings. Um, so all of a sudden, you have six starters at the major league level that can contribute. And the worst of your starters has been probably Brian Wu, shockingly enough, him and George Kirby.
Crazy.
But Wu at home has been one of the best starters in baseball. He's been unbelievable. So you can't really take any of those guys out of the rotation. Bryce Miller comes back, he's been unbelievable, and they insert the piggyback because Luis Castillo is making money and they're not going to just move him to the bullpen. He's a leader on the team and they want to be able to maintain trade value. I think that's probably the biggest piece of it, right? We're talking about the deadline in this episode, and when I look at the Mariners deadline, the first thing I'm going to say is I expect them to end up trading one of these starting pitchers. Luis Castillo seems the most likely, but if they can get a package to me that like makes sense to trade a different one of these starters, specifically George Kirby, like I would not be shocked. And if anything, like I think it's highly possible, and if not likely, like there's not going to be many pitchers on the market, and if the Mariners can get Mahal that I think they could get for George Kirby, it's going to make a lot of sense. Um, just finishing up on the piggyback itself, right? Like caused a lot of commotion in Seattle. People were pissed because Castillo was pissed about it. Miller was pissed about it. Like they didn't really communicate. Part of this was that Cal Raleigh was gone, and he's a big communicator between the clubhouse and the management. And he was gone. He was injured at the time, so there was no real communication between the Mariners front office and the pitching staff and the players on like what was going to happen. But I mean, the crux of the problem, right, is that they haven't been able to just make the hard decision and say, Luis Castillo, you need to go to the bullpen, which I can understand maintaining the trade value. And if that's your only reason, like, I get it. But to me, like, I look at this whole Mariners first half and it feels like they're just like having a mentality of being okay being a loser, right? And the piggyback sort of is that.
Yeah, that I mean, yeah, you kind of said it perfectly there. Of like, because it was so weird at first, because you were right. Like there was so many people that like the reports were like, yeah, multiple pitchers were vocal that they were not going to go for it, and then they all agreed that it was a unanimous decision. I don't know. I do think, and to me again, from the outside looking in all these past years, as like a Dodger fan who loves the Mariners, truthfully, looking on the outside looking in, hearing you like still say like trading George Kirby, like to me is crazy. But I think that it's at the point where, like, I think for you as well, again, on the outside looking in, for a long time coming, we knew one of these pitchers was going to get traded. It was just a matter of when and who, and I think that definitely has, especially as we near this deadline, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the Mariners maneuver. I think in this AL, again, that is clearly wide open. That in AL, there on paper, I still have the Mariners as my favorite to win and make a deep run. I think you guys are gonna have a really really interesting deadline because I could very much see a world where you can make like, and I'm not saying this as an example of like the talent and what they've shown on the field, but like a Nimmo Simeon trade where it's like a 1-for-1. You're going to trade like a Kirby or someone for a bet, like a good bet too, because Kirby has 1 or 2 years of control left.
It'd be 2.5 years.
Wow, yeah, that's
Uh, Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've talked about it necessarily on this show because we haven't done many, if any, episodes during the regular season. But like, I look at the off season and I'm like, one of Kirby or Gilbert's gonna get traded. I think in this off season, and I mean, the thing we haven't even discussed yet here is like, you look at the Mariners starting pitching, and they got 6 guys at the major league level that like can contribute. I mean, Bryce Miller's been unbelievable since getting back. But then they got the 2 kids over in Arkansas, Cade Anderson, who looks to be ready for the big leagues, and Ryan
he's
Thorne, who might
ready.
not be ready now, but he is going to be ready in 2027 at some point, right? So it's not even to me trading Kirby, right, for doing it now because I think you're maximizing his value and because it's cleaning up what the rest of your season is going to look like and it's going to cause less ripples in the clubhouse. But it's also a thing where you look to the future and it's like, what is the part that Kirby has? And I don't think he's going to sign an extension. I think he's a type of guy that honestly could end up with the Mets at some point. This is a New York guy. Like he's going to go to the East Coast at some point, I think. And he seems like the type of guy to trade. And this is the maximum amount of value you can get. And if you can improve this lineup and you can get another legit bat, if you can get another legit reliever, like if you get both of them in that trade, that's your entire deadline right there.
Yeah, wow. Because I mean, I think for me, what's so interesting about this deadline, obviously, just with the AL, with again, I think the NL is definitely more competitive, but still very close. Like if they're both competitive in the exact same opposite way. I know that made no sense, but like again, they're both wide open. The NL because partly everyone's doing good, and the AL's open because everyone's doing bad. To where that makes this deadline so interesting, especially because I think the entire market, the buyers at least, like the confirmed buyers that I would definitely say are like the Dodgers, Brewers, Braves, Cubs, Phillies, Marlins, Rays. Yanks, Guards, you guys. I really want to put the White Sox in there. I really do. I just don't know. But to me, it feels like they kind of need the same things. They need
Yeah,
one bat. They
and
need one starter. They need one bullpen. To where in a very small market, I feel like one trade can just cause catastrophe throughout the rest of the league.
yeah, I mean, you talk about the similarities there, right? It's like the difference between the American League right now and the National League is just that the National League has the Dodgers at the top, right? Like the Dodgers are going to be the Dodgers. I mean, the Brewers have been unbelievable. The Braves are an unbelievable team, obviously. Like the top end teams in the National League are better than the American League teams, and part of that's just that American League top teams literally haven't performed. Like the Yankees, I don't think have been as good as they possibly could be. Like their record should probably be better than it is right now. Obviously, the Mariners are that way. I think the Guardians are a better team than what they've done. And it's like you said, it makes the deadline like completely interesting, and you have no idea what's going to happen. Like you look at the teams that you expect to be sellers, right? Like to me, I listed this off on my podcast, my
Yeah,
brother's podcast earlier this week, and like the teams I have as sellers right now are the
I'm
Royals,
interested to see
Angels,
what you say.
Rockies,
Yeah,
Giants, Mets, and that's it. That's it. And mind you, like the Angels don't really have anything to trade, and I don't know if they're going to
and
trade.
if they did, they wouldn't.
Exactly. And the Rockies are the Rockies. Like they don't really have all that much. The Royals are in a weird spot where like the guys that you'd be interested in Michael Garcia and a couple of guys like that, like
Injured
they're
and
under
struggling.
control. They're not going to trade them. The Mets are the Mets. Like they have some pieces, but you have no idea what's going to happen there. To me, the most interesting of those teams is the Giants,
Yeah,
and
who
a
have
lot of the
basically
guys that they have are big contracts.
and they basically said they've already are going to be open for anyone. I think that's to me like the only other team I would maybe put in the sell column for sure would be the Reds, just because they are a little bit further out. But still, I think the Giants are like the only team that I can say for certainty, sorry, um, like are going to be open for hunting. Like other than that, I don't know how many moves come out of these sellers.
Yeah, like I mean, you look at like bubble teams right now, right? Like you look at the Reds, like you look at the Nats, you look at the A's, you look at the Orioles, right? Like if I'm an Orioles fan, I wouldn't be happy with it, but I'd be at a point where like, is it time to just like blow up this window? Like the guys just aren't really working. You're not really going to be able to change anything. You just signed Pete Alonso, but you still don't have any pitching. Gunnar Henderson hasn't been
Crazy.
the guy you expect him to be. Like I mean, there's just teams in weird spots, and it's going to make for a really weird and wacky deadline.
It is. What's one team that I think because we know I feel like the division leaders right now we don't really have to worry about. They're gonna go out there. They're gonna make their moves. What are two out of wild card team at the moment? One from each league. Give me an AL. Give me an NL team. I'll give you mine. Um, that you think can make or break the deadline as far as the moves that they can and should make. Because for me, in the NL, again, if you're looking on the outside playing in, this is going to be one of my mock trades that I'll get into later. The St. Louis Cardinals to me, man, are going to be such an interesting. I'm really interested to see what they do at this deadline because their offensive core is forming in ways that I don't think anyone saw. Jordan Walker, what he has been, what he's meant for not only just the city of St. Louis for that team, but for just baseball and comeback stories. Shout out my favorite rigged home run derby champion. Oh my god, graphic. Oh my gosh, what a derby though. I'm still debating on the format. I think the home runs matter more, but there's also on average 100 less home runs we saw in the last couple of years. But that's just Mahal. What really draws me to the old format is Julio's 40 home run round in Seattle. I mean, it doesn't get
Yeah,
much
but
better
you
than
couldn't
that.
even watch the home runs. Imagine if Julio would have won that derby. He would have hit one out of the stadium if he was able to really charge up on one. I mean, those takes Wilson Contreras was hitting. It's a shame Netflix did what Netflix did, but whoo, the derby. I mean, to me that format is great, fantastic.
It's growing on me. That's honestly in the past couple of days. It's been growing on me. It certainly grew on Jordan Walker, but like again, look at even again they traded everyone. They traded Gray, Contreras, Donovan. Like everyone thought this would be a new era of the Cardinals, and it should be, and it is in the best way. Again, they have Walker, Weatherholt. They just locked him up. He's the guy they expect him to be. Burleson's great. Herrera's great. You have Win at short. The pitching for me is such a question mark to where McGreevy's been an awesome story. May, as we know in our fantasy league, has been one of the weirdest pitchers in baseball this year. the weird. Like I want to pick him up in fantasy for 1 week and he'll do horrible, and the next week he'll throw a complete game shutout. Like, that's the way he's done.
So strange.
So to me, I really am intrigued to see what the Cardinals do, because of these bubble teams, at least in the NL, they feel the most real to me. And I know that's crazy considering the Pirates are still the Pirates are still there, the D-backs are still there, the Padres are somehow still there. But to me, in the NL at least, the Cardinals are the team for me that I still think can challenge one of the Marlins, Phillies, or Cubs. In the AL, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I kind of can't. I kind of do because we were in on them from the start. It didn't happen, and then it did. The Red Sox, I think, in my opinion, genuinely control this deadline. If they come out of the gate and lose lose 8 of 10, there's genuine conversations of like a Duran trade, a Chapman trade, a Contreras trade. Recently, it's been reported that Contreras would veto a trade. I think he does have a no trade clause. But still, those are going to be circulating. Teams are going to be calling. If they come out of the gate and win 8 of 10, as they've been hot, they were on a W9, then you're looking to buy. And in a team that has pitching for days, to where the Red Sox, to me, not only, honestly, not just for the sake of are they going to buy or are they in it. I think generally the Red Sox could very well control how explosive this deadline is because of the pieces they have and the bubble they're in. They're half a game out at 46 and 48.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there a couple of times. I look at the National League, right, and I mean, you're right there. I mean, I think the Cardinals are a team that controls it, but I think that they strike me as a team that's sort of going to try and toe that line. But I'm going to give you a couple teams and give you a division kind of here. I look at the NL West and I look at the Padres and the Diamondbacks, and depending on what each one of those two teams kind of decides to do, can really shape what this deadline looks like. I look at the Padres, right? This is a team that doesn't really have any pitching, that stars have not done what their stars expect to do. They have some terrible contracts that they're probably not going to be able to get out of, but they have the best chip at the deadline, potentially, if they choose to use it, in Mason Miller. Am I ever going to trade him? I don't know,
dude.
Adrian Morejon is a rental.
I think
that's
they
a guy
should.
that I think is going to get traded.
Absolutely
getting traded. Ty France has had a great season. He probably is going to get traded.
Walker Buehler?
Potentially. I mean, could they do something crazy and trade a Tatis, trade a Jackson Merrill? Their farm system doesn't look that exciting right now. I mean, Cruz Schoolcraft is kind of interesting, but they have one top 100 prospect right now in Ethan Salas. Not that interesting. The Diamondbacks, a team that sort of had their window just not hit, not happen. They were in the World Series in 2023 against the Rangers, and it just hasn't happened since. But could they make some crazy moves that shape this deadline and are like a Luka Doncic type of trade, right? Where it blows up the baseball world. And then you look at the American League, right? And I think it's another division. There's a couple teams in a division. I mean, you mentioned the Red Sox. You stick in that division. Baltimore Orioles, the Toronto Blue Jays. What do those two teams do? The Blue Jays were in the World Series last year. They were what? Two outs away from beating the Dodgers?
2 outs away, and IKF better lead from winning the World Series. And Ernie Clement more weight room from winning the World Series.
It's ridiculous. But, I mean, could they trade Louis Varland? Do they have other relievers that could make sense? There are pieces there that could be traded. Could the Orioles do something out of this world and trade one of those young infielders, young players that hasn't necessarily panned out, but they might be able to get a piece that makes sense more for them in the future, right? Those are the teams to me that are you have legit pieces that teams would maybe want. You could change this deadline by choosing to sell and by choosing to do something a little bit crazy.
It's going to be very interesting. Side note, we had the Blue Jays downfall since the beginning of this year, and I just want to shout us up for that. Because, I mean, we both kind of have a little bias going into it, me being a Dodger fan, you being a Mariner fan. But, genuinely, we said it. This team is not as good as they were last year. And a lot of people around us in the baseball world did not like us that take. But we were on that shit since day one.
Hey, man, Ernie Clement shouldn't even have been an all-star. Cole Young was better than Ernie Clement so far this year when you look at both F4 and in terms of the defensive stats specifically, right? the bat's pretty much the same thing. Ernie Clement is nothing special. Abolish the fan voting. That is stupid. The nation of Canada changes the fan voting, and it makes me mad every year. Cole Young should have been an all-star. Ernie Clement's not that guy. The Blue Jays aren't those guys. Vladdy had one good season. One good season. George Springer came back from living to dead. I don't know what fountain of youth he drank last year, but like you said, we had it. We knew what was gonna happen.
I really hope this goes. I'm gonna post that clip on our socials and hope that goes viral.
Boy.
Truthfully.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
No.
Come at me, Blue Jays fans.
Come out, yeah, come out, Mahal. Mahal can take
Come
it.
at me.
Um,
Come down from British Columbia.
I think it's time for mock trades. I have a few. You also have a few. Some of these I believe in a lot more than I believe in others. I have some really sexy trades. I have some
Ooh.
really not sexy trades.
Ooh.
So I have some trades that just make sense. I'm gonna start with the banger.
Give me it. Let's go.
There's this deadline. We didn't even really talk about the one team that, for being honest, controls how explosive this deadline is because of the one piece they have.
Oh no! Don't you dare say the Seattle University alum. Don't do it.
Did he go there?
Of course he did.
That's awesome! Wow, what a wow, he did. What? You know what? Look at you. You're ball knowing. Side note, I do completely believe in the offseason he could go to your team, and I really wanted to put on.
No.
I really wanted to dream up a scenario in the offseason where the Mariners need a new pitching identity. They trade some of their guys they have for a bat, and then their rotation looks like a Gilbert, a Hancock, a Miller, a Scooball, and an Anderson, and like a Woo. Like I was dreaming of that. Yeah, and then to me it made sorry to dream and delay my trade for a second, Mahal. But then I was like, the Mariners have had no lefties in the recent years. Kate Anderson, a lefty. He's gonna learn a lot from the guys on the pitching staff right now. But who better than to learn from than the best lefty in baseball?
I like where you're going with
So
this.
that's my dreaming for you. But we can get to the offseason when we get to that.
Yeah. That's a few months away.
That's a few months away. I think the Tigers are a smarter organization than the Los Angeles Angels. I would hope so. I would think so, and I do say so. And as much as I love the Detroit Tigers, like I love what they've done in the past couple of years, they're a scrappy team. They kind of play the ball and kind of run the organization in a Brewers, Rays, Guardians kind of way a little bit, and it's worked out for them in some places. It also hasn't this year. I think of all years, that to have a team to bet on, this is the team I would have bet on, and it just didn't work. And it's not their fault. Sometimes it just happens. That's every sport, and especially baseball. To me, last year they had the division lead and they were buyers, and they bought Charlie Morton, who didn't finish the year with them, Kyle Finnegan, Paul Sewald, and Cody Kewer. Like, not trying to be mean, but that's what their deadline was as buyers. I think if the Tigers are smart, and I do believe them to be a smart team, I think they do what's best. Especially if they run out the gate losing 8 of 10. If you come out the gate winning 8 of 10, maybe this whole trade, this whole spiel I'm going on is for naught. If you come out of the gate losing 8 of 10, it has to be a genuine discussion of what's best for this franchise going forward. Because I'm so sorry, I don't think Tarek Skubal is signing with your team in the offseason.
No, he's not.
I think he's a New York Met or he's a Seattle Mariner. I'm being so serious when I say that. Or a Chicago Cub. Like, those are my 3 teams that I like maybe. But other than that, I have no clue where he's in. And if you're the Detroit Tigers, and you're looking and thinking seriously and smart about what you can get and what you can get from a team that can give you what you should for Tarek Skubal, and I honestly didn't want to do this, and I hate saying this, and you're going to be like, bullshit, Mike. The Los Angeles Dodgers are the only team that can make a trade for Tarek Skubal. Unless the only other team I really, really thought of was the New York Yankees, but I think they have other needs that are more glaring for them. I think that's where they're going to go. The Dodgers, we've seen them put the chips all in before. A lot of people forget that 2021 Max Scherzer Trey Turner trade. We traded Josiah Gray and Keibert Ruiz, who at the time were two of not only our best prospects, but some of the better prospects in baseball. We've been fine. Obviously, they haven't panned out, but we've been fine giving up top prospects before. I think the advantage that the Dodgers have, again, they're going for a three-peat. They don't care about the CBA, the lockout. They don't care about these negotiations that are going on in the fall that we can get to when we get to. They want to win. They want to win now. And I know before the season to have this trade would be crazy with the pitching that they have, right? Especially with what Robleski's been. Sheehan and Sasaki have struggled at times. Snell is working his way back. Glass now, Mahal, the more it's looking like it, I don't think he's pitching the rest of, I didn't think for the rest of the season. I love the guy to death, and like he's an amazing pitcher. I think he's turning into one of the biggest what ifs, not only of the generation, of baseball history, truly. Just what the injuries have done to him. And the more reports that come out about Glass now, he has not picked up a baseball, like, in months. Same thing with like Will Smith, which really concerns me. The advantage the Dodgers have is Emmett Sheehan. I think they can give up Emmett Sheehan in this deal and have it really not make a dent. If they want to go all in, chips in, and I think a sneaky advantage they have, Miguel Rojas is retiring at the end of this year. Love the guy. He's a Dodger legend, baseball legend for what he did last year. They will need another veteran vibes guy that can give them some defense, hit lefties, besides Kike. Kike's a Dodger on the team forever, but he might retire too. You're telling me that the Dodgers, for Tarek Skubal, want to go to Detroit and say, you know what? We'll take 1 year of Javi Baez's contract off your hands to be a bench bet vibes guy for us. I think that's the one advantage the Dodgers have, just because they don't really give a fuck. Like they don't care about money, and I think that's the one advantage that they have. If the Tigers are a smart team, and I hope they are, I think it makes sense. I think there's been reports that the Dodgers don't really want Skubal, but there's been some insider also reports that they've been very underplaying their desire for him. I think it makes too much sense. Dodgers, they get their guy. The Tigers the Tigers definitely sell, but in a way that they get the right pieces. I think DePaulo goes in this trade. If the Tigers are smart, I don't know. This is the trade I feel the least confident in out of the ones I've drawn up. If the Tigers are smart, I think they should make this trade. But Tarek Skubal to the Dodgers, to me, feels like a match made in.
I mean, it feels like it's been written in the stars since the beginning of last offseason. It really does. Like, would I hate it? Of course I would hate it.
Of course you would.
It'd make me hate baseball. It'd make the lockout even more likely. But I mean, it makes too much sense. I mean, I don't know why the Dodgers wouldn't do it, to be honest. And if the Tigers are smart, like, you look at it and you go, yeah, I mean, we're not going to be able to re-sign him. If we get a haul that I think you could probably get for him, even just a couple months of him, like, you go and do it. And I mean, if once you get to that point, like, depending on the guys you go acquire, like, what's stopping you from trading a guy like Riley Green, who has 2.5 years? Like, what's stopping you from trading a guy like Kerry Carpenter, right? Like, what's stopping you from doing some of these things? Like, make a couple of these trades, get yourself a refresh, that then you can go and build around a guy that about to turn 22, and Kevin McGonigal looks like a freaking stud.
He's
Looks
so
like a
good.
freaking stud.
He's so good. I was on opening day, I was texting my Padres buddy who was at the game, and he was like, Kevin McGonigal just went 4 for 4 against us. He might be the truth. And I was like, yeah,
Right.
yeah, he is.
Yeah. And like, I mean, from a Mariners fan perspective, right? Like, I don't like the Tigers, right? Because, you know, they're annoying to play against. I don't like AL Central teams, like we just played in the postseason. But like, would I go to you and say, do you want George Kirby for Riley Green?
Yeah, you
And
would.
go do that trade in a heartbeat? I think you would.
I think you
And
would.
to be honest, I look at the Tigers and I'd be like, would they be willing to potentially go and talk about that if they can get some bats that are pretty close to the majors from the Dodgers for Tarek Skubal? Like, I think that they maybe would. Like, they could really shape the future of their team with it, and I think it's just a Tarek Skubal and maybe another piece away from really changing the outlook of that franchise.
Tarek Skubal is going to control this deadline. I'm really excited to see. If Tarek Skubal doesn't get traded, this deadline might be a nothing burger. But if he does, it might be one of the craziest deadlines in history. That's my first trade that I have on the docket. I don't know. Again, I don't really know if I believe in it that much, just because I don't know if the Tigers are going to do it. But I think it makes the most sense. And if it happens, I think baseball fans will come for LA as they have been for the last couple of years. But then I'll just start daydreaming of that third parade. As a Dodger fan, that has to feel a little good. Sorry, Mahal. Sorry.
Mm.
If you have a mock trade, it can be any trade. It does not have to be as sexy as that.
All
Throw it my
right.
way.
Let me give you an interesting one that was
Okay.
posed to me in my podcast.
Okay, bet.
All right. It's gonna involve the Mariners
It has to.
because
I have a Mariners
I
trade for
I
you too.
am the Mariners.
We have to start with our teams. We have
I'm
to.
basically Jerry Dipoto. All right. So I'm gonna call AJ Preller, who does crazy shit all the time, and I'm gonna say, you got a Miller, I got a Miller. Let's swap Millers. Mason Miller for Bryce Miller.
One for
Who
one.
says no? One
One
for
for
one.
one.
One for one. Who says no?
I say no.
Why do you say no?
I think 1-for-1 is a. I think as much as don't get me wrong, I love 1-for-1 trades. I think in this day and age,
never happen.
they never happen.
But
I
who
think.
says no to that trade?
How many years of arb does Bryce, or how many years of control does Bryce have?
Too many. Let's see. I think it's at least 3.5, maybe 4.5. Let's do some on-show research here.
Yes.
You get how many Mason Miller has?
I already have it. Yeah.
All right. Bryce controlled through 2029, 3.5 years.
That's exactly what Miller is.
Best closer in baseball, and what I think at least is an elite starting pitcher.
He has.
I mean, he had the down season last year, but
he's been phenomenal this year.
And the Padres need
The
starting
Padres
pitching,
need starting
especially
pitching.
for the future.
They have Jeremiah Estrada for years to come.
They got Estrada. I could see them re-signing Morejon if they move some money around. Jason Adams still there.
You know, I really thought I'd hate this deal, but I really love. Actually,
it's a really interesting one.
I really. Wow.
Yeah.
That honestly.
It's a crazy one.
So I will spoil my Mariners trade I had for you guys. I did have a reliever going to you. I had a package deal of a bat and a reliever going to you. I'm not gonna say who to in which team. I just kind of thought you guys would need a backup. I know Munoz hasn't been the greatest this year, but is the bullpen, at least from your perspective, has it been that big of a problem? Like genuinely, I'm asking. I'm just curious to go out there and get Mason Miller because I know you guys were willing to go out there and make the Duran trade last year, and like you could just say, yeah, we were ready to do it last year. Let's do it again. But for me, that's like just a genuine question because the more I think about this trade, I honestly love it. But I think for me, that's my better question for you because I also had a reliever coming your way. Is what has your bullpen look like?
I mean, I'm gonna keep this as short-winded as I can, right? Like, let's start here. Matt Brash has been hurt for about a month now. He's out through the trade deadline, and we have no idea how much he's going to be able to pitch when he comes back. Gabe Spire's been limited because he's dealt with injuries throughout parts of this year, and again, he's just a lefty. Mostly, he only gets lefties out for the most part. Ferrer's been unbelievable, but again, we're throwing him so much.
Much.
Our second best righty is like Edward Bizardo right now. They need a
now Cooper Criswell.
He's also out.
I saw that on your fan graph and it broke my heart.
Yep. I miss Cooper Criswell. That's my goat. High leverage Cooper Criswell. Rest in peace.
Shout out, rest in peace, Cooper Criswell.
He was doing great, man. I mean, it's another thing, right? Like, I look at their bullpen and it's Munoz who has had his struggles. He's had his struggles.
He's having a down year. He's having a down
recently. His fastball's been back up to 102-ish, and he's been unbelievable lately. But they need help back there. This is a team that's identity is playing in close games and using your pitching to win games, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Mason Miller, right? You don't need a legit closer, but they need a legit guy in the 8th inning. They need a guy that can pair with Munoz and that they can throw in a 3-game series so that then you're not using Munoz 3 days in a row. Because that's the biggest problem is that they just don't have the depth right now in their bullpens. And they're going to get guys back from injury, and they're going to hopefully have Cade Anderson in there at some point and Ryan Sloan potentially in there at some point. But you don't want to rely on those guys. They need additions. They need the help. And the guys they have right now are not going to last that long. And I have fears about Edward Bizardo getting injured with how much they throw.
Yeah. Wow. You've honestly kind of sold me on this trade a little bit. I kind of love it. It'd be crazy. But it's AJ Preller. But if you had one word to describe AJ Preller, what would you describe him as?
He's crazy.
He's crazy. And it's also, I think, for me, from a Padres perspective, of like your window is in a weird spot because to me they're kind of like the Phillies of like you have so many contracts on the books of guys that are gonna age. I think the only guy you can kind of bank on being consistent is Tatis. I would want to put Machado in that spot, but he's been consistently regressing
Hmm.
over since 22. I saw a stat the other day. I think he has like the worst batting average for someone on pace for 30 home runs like at the break, which is like a crazy stat um, ever. Um, so for me, for them, I think honestly it makes a lot of sense because I mean, on my way home, I was just listening to some podcasts like just randomly, and one of them was like, "Are the Padres a better team in the future if they trade Mason Miller?" And if we're being honest, I think so. I think so because you
I
also look at the
think so too.
future of that pitching staff. Like the Darvish whole situation this year has been weird. Musgrove's injury's been questionable. Pavetta's been injured. It's just been a lot. It's been a lot of question marks around the Padres starting pitching specifically. I don't hate that trade, Mahal. And you know what? You really have me dreaming actually, because that'd be awesome.
It it'd be an unbelievable trade to
That'd be
be
awesome.
honest. And like as a Mariners fan, like I want them to go get a reliever, and I'm not gonna complain if they go get Mason Miller.
And then,
But
yeah,
like I have Bryce Miller as such a huge part of the Mariners' future, and as the guy to me that like if they can extend one of these starters, it is Bryce Miller, right? But I mean, if you're getting Mason Miller, like it's Mason freaking Miller.
yeah. Oh, well, I feel kind of bad dropping this not very very not sexy trade compared to what we just drew up. Um, but here goes nothing, I guess. What did we say at the beginning of this episode? The San Francisco Giants are the only confirmed sellers of this deadline. I think they're open for business. And I have a lot of sexier trades just in my mind of like, ooh, maybe like one I literally on the drive home from my internship. Shout out OC Riptide, free ad. Um, one I just one I dreamt of. This is like, yeah, like it's kind of I don't hate it. Like an Elliot Ramos, Matt Chapman deal to the Phillies. I think it makes a lot of sense. But we're not gonna go there. We're gonna just do a pick. I think it's gonna happen because there's a team out there that always defies expectations. Everyone counts them out, and they do what they do, and they're in it every year. They have two pitchers that one consistently is one of the most underrated in baseball. The other that when he's healthy, he's good. He's kind of glass now ish in that sense. And two relievers who have become starters that while they've been good, can you really count on those guys for the postseason? I think you can piggyback them in a fourth start, potentially put Robbie Ray in that third spot of your rotation, who's been solid. And to me, putting a bat like Luis Arias on a team that just screams his entire identity. Give me Robbie Ray and Luis Arias too. Robbie's last name, the Tampa Bay Rays. I think it makes a lot of sense. You look at that lineup, Mahal. Dream with me for a second. Your lineups: Arias, Diaz. Your top four: Arias, Diaz, Aranda, Caminero. Get a single, a walk, a single. What does Caminero do? Grand slam, 4 out top, bottom first. That's what their lineup could genuinely be with how good Arias, Aranda, Diaz, and Caminero have been this year. Arias' defense has been much better, and I think it takes so much pressure off of the other platoon guys in their lineup that have been batting fourth and fifth for them. Shout out Ryan Vilade, who hit bombs against the Dodgers one weekend when they played us. But again, do you really want to put Ryan Vilade as your cleanup hitter in the playoffs? I don't think you do. I think you want that to be a Diaz or a Caminero or an Aranda, to where I think if you get a guy like Arias who just fits the Rays' identity in that lineup, it makes sense. If you get Robbie Ray, a veteran starter who is a rental to kind of help the pitching rotation in the back end, because don't get me wrong, Nick Martinez has been phenomenal. Griffin Jacks, most underrated fantasy pickup of all time. By the way, shout out by me. Can't believe I picked that up. Sorry, Mahal. Sorry, Mahal. I know your fantasy season's gone.
It's over. It's
It's
over.
over. It's
Too
over.
many injuries. I
too
got
many,
eight
too many
pitchers
injuries.
injured right now.
Are you serious?
Not
I,
that many. Like
I,
five.
I have two guys on my bench injured, and I can't put them on the IL because I have three guys injured as well. So I
Yep,
hear
that's
that,
where I'm at.
heard that fully. But yeah, the Rays, they get Robbie Ray. You have Rasmussen, McClanahan, Ray, and then you can, I think, honestly, piggyback Martinez and Jax if you wanted to, just to save their arms too. It makes a lot of sense. The Rays, they try to flash Chiefs the trades, but they do what they need to do. They get a starter, they get a bat, and to me, fit the identity of that team. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, from a Rays perspective, I think it makes a lot of sense. The only thing would be, uh, with a Rise, right? Like, how does he fit that ballpark that is a little bit smaller of an outfield? How does he fit
Yeah,
that,
it's a good
especially
point.
compared to San Francisco? And he has very limited athleticism. And I don't know if that's something that the Rays
But
can
his
fully
defense has been
appreciate.
incredible for no reason.
Sure, but I mean, that's a team that like wants to run all over you, right? They want to create chaos.
Yeah,
And to me, like, I think he would fit that team really well. I think that it would make that team better. I don't know if he's the best fit, like in terms of just purely that athleticism. Uh, but I mean, for the Giants, right? Like, my only pushback would be why would you package your two probably best trade chips in terms of rentals? I think you're more likely to do those trades separate. But there's no reason that the Rays couldn't do both of those trades. We saw the Mariners trade
separately,
for
yeah,
Gino and Naylor last year from the
from the
Diamondbacks,
same
who were
team.
their two best trade
Just
chips.
not from the Cardinals and the Red Sox. You know, they traded for
Yeah,
Grant and Contreras, so that could have easily
exactly.
been a package deal. I have a lot of package deals. I'm a big fan of package deals. I'm a little biased
And
because of
they
the
don't happen, I feel like.
they don't happen a lot, which I feel like is surprising. Like I feel like after the Soto Bell deal, like we kind of just went away from it.
That was it.
That's really like ever since then. What like genuinely name one because I can't
There isn't one.
exactly. Um. So yeah, something I drew up. I think the Rays, they're going to be a very interesting team. I don't know where I have them as far as like my top EL team. I think I still go. I think on paper I go Yanks, which is where
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know.
I
Yeah, I don't know. Give me one you have before I think about this race trade too much.
Let's stick with the Giants. All right.
Hell yeah.
You mentioned Helio Ramos. I think Helio Ramos is a really interesting fit for the Seattle Mariners, as is Casey Schmidt. And I think Emerson Hancock could be a really interesting arm for the San Francisco Giants, who might look at their future and say, we need some starting pitching for the future. We need a guy that we can control. Schmidt, as well as Ramos, both, I believe, have 3.5 years. Let me just confirm that. Yes, they both have 3.5 years of control. Schmidt's a really similar profile to me as Hancock, where it's a guy that's broken out here in 2026 out of not necessarily nowhere, but has like finally come into their own a little bit, and with control could make sense for the Giants, especially to trade, and they'd have Hancock for a while. I think it could make sense. I don't know if necessarily the Mariners would do it. I think that if anything, that Hancock would be a little bit of an overpay. But I mean, getting the right-handed bat that the Mariners need, and the Giants are getting a piece that helps them right now, that has proven at the major league level that they can do it. And I think Posey keeps his job with that one.
Yeah, no, the Vitello signing's been if there was an award for not manager of the year, I think he wins that.
It's
Just a
unfortunate.
little bit. It
I had
really is
so much
unfortunate.
belief in the
There's a lot
guy.
of hope. There's a lot of hope. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. This Giants team, and I honestly feel bad because I think baseball is a better sport when the Dodgers Giants rivalry is as good as it can be.
Absolutely.
Like 2021 was such a fun season. I think because we had that weird Giants fluke year of like
Mm-hmm.
every game between the Dodgers and Giants was competitive, and that to me as a Dodger fan and a baseball fan makes me so happy when we get that real rivalry. Um, but yeah, to me it feels like they tried so hard to find an identity, and then they found it, and it just didn't work. And it sucks that that's what happened, but I think they should be open for sale. I like that trade. You guys obviously are used to doing trade deals in the past. So you guys are very well partners. Um, I guess for me, I have a question for you as far as genuinely just rank like most like in your opinion, again, as a Mariners fan, wanting to keep instead of like would be the first out the door. So as far as the pitchers in your rotation, like rank them from most likely to get traded to least, just based off of one your opinion as knowing this front office and how it works. Two, just guys that make sense to leave, and three, guys that would give you better deals.
You want me to go most to least likely?
Yeah, most of these
Okay.
likely to get traded.
Uh, I mean Castillo's most likely.
Yeah,
I think.
I
Like
had that one
he's
too.
the easiest to trade. It's a salary dump. I think you could do that in a heartbeat if you really wanted to. He'd be number one. I think Kirby would be right after him. I think that I think it's a toss up between
Really? Okay.
After that, to be honest. Um, it's just hard to know like how they value Hancock to me. And Gilbert with only a year and a half, like there's a real possibility that since it doesn't really seem like they're going to be able to extend them, that they would trade him. I wouldn't like it. It would suck. He's been freaking unbelievable for about 6 weeks
Even
here.
awesome.
Maybe even more than that. Maybe more like 8 or 9. Uh, he's been unbelievable. So it'd be really hard to part with him, especially with what he's been doing here. So maybe Hancock ahead of him for that reason. And then I think you would put Wu and Miller kind of in a similar boat right there. I think those two guys would be really hard to part with. But I mean, to me, I think it'd be really difficult to see them trade anyone but Kirby or Castillo.
Yeah, Castillo made the most sense to me. Gilbert's always been interesting just because of the one less year of control. I think for
Yeah,
me it's like, and I think again, outside looking in, I kind of expect you guys to lock up one of Gilbert and Kirby long term. But I think for me on
it
the brief
seemed
conversation,
like that for so long.
but for
It
now,
felt
like
like that.
now, I don't know. Would you agree if that's the case that you really think like when push comes up, one of them are gonna get extended? Like I don't know.
I've always thought Gilbert would be the one to sign the extension, right? Like I talked about Kirby a little bit earlier. Like to me, he just seems like he would want to go back to the East Coast where he's from, and like to me, like he seems like just such a freaking Met. At some point, like they'll give him the chunk of change he's looking for,
Yeah,
and he's from New York. Like that just feels so right to me. Um, and Gilbert, like it's always felt like they would be able to extend him. I don't know if they've really gotten the money to like shake out, and Gilbert could get a lot more money on the free agent market than I think the Mariners would be willing to give him, um, especially with the injury issues he's dealt with, especially last year, right? And just how up and down he's been. But he's best friends with Cal. Like they were roommates throughout the entire time through the minors. They were drafted the same year. Like he is such a Mariner, and he feels like he could be a Mariners legend, a forever Mariner. It's just like the closer you get to him becoming a free agent, the less and less likely it feels like they're gonna be able to extend.
interesting, interesting. It's gonna be weird. I think it's gonna be very interesting. Future talk, future talk, because that's what we are. We're a future pod. We're a live
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah,
Uh, the late 2020s are going to be a very interesting time for the Seattle Mariners. I that could be in the best way possible. I think I'm scared it's in the worst way possible. I hope it's in the best way. I'm really
yeah.
excited.
It's gonna be like the late '90s. Just you wait.
Our senior year of college, I'm really excited to see how this Mariners team looks like. I'm really excited to see how that looks like. I have two more trades for you. I'm gonna rattle them off both real quickly. I'm gonna
Yep,
start with the
let's go.
one for your team. I think you guys need a bat. I think you guys need a reliever.
Correct.
A team you mentioned. What can? Did you hear that? Okay, sorry. Was wondering if that came through the mic. The loudest like motorcycle rev of my life, right outside my window right now. At 12,
Nice.
at 12, yeah.
That's
Um,
great.
you mentioned one of these teams. They have a lot of pieces. I think this is a sneaky piece. A lot of people forget that they have because it was one of the more weirder trades of the off season. A lot of people forget they have this team. He's having a down year. That's why I don't think you have to. But you look at some of the savant numbers, the squared up percentage, the chase percentage, the walk percentage are in the 100th percentile almost, which to me screams like the Mariners' savior, especially in the outfield. He's having a down year, which is why I don't think you have to give up as much for him. I think what's going to cost you more is that guy in the back end of the bullpen who's been phenomenal. Taylor Ward and Rico Garcia from the Baltimore Orioles. Taylor Ward, who a guy I think if he started his career anywhere else could have already been a Mariner. The Angels factor of it all, genuinely, I think just the end division, how the Angels have been run, I think kind of stunts that. But Taylor Ward to me just kind of fits your profile of a guy who just hits the ball and who bangs from the right side. He's been struggling as of late, and this season hasn't been the best. But it feels like that's been the storyline of the Baltimore Orioles, where if you get him out of Baltimore, goes to the AL, goes to a more competing team, and a team that I think generally also just has more vibes. Like if you're doing like a dream blunt rotation of like vibe clubhouses in the majors, I'd go Mariners as like my first or second pick, just because I feel like they have vibes. Outside looking in, again, outside looking in, um, to where to me it makes sense. You like you mentioned, you get another guy for high leverage that can help relief um the arms of Bizarro and Herrera. So Taylor Ward and Rico Garcia, I honestly think arguably you could do that trade straight up for Luis Castillo. Even maybe just because Taylor Ward's a rental, I could maybe see you guys throwing in like a Michael Morales or like a Felony and Celestine in that deal. But to me that makes sense. My last deal of the night, I'm gonna end a little sexy. I know I just said in-division deals don't happen. I'm gonna do it because this team basically just came out and said everyone besides 4 guys are for sale. Um, they said we're keeping Juan Soto, Carson Bedge, AJ Ewing, and Nolan McLean. Francisco Lindor not being. That was not an official Mets quote, but a rival exec came out and said that the Mets said they aren't trading Soto, Bench, Ewing, or McLean, not putting Lindor on any other team because that's dumb. Even though we can dream about that in the Mustard as much as we want. Future Mariner Francisco Lindor. Just kidding. I'm not that crazy here. Not the last in the midnight hour. Um, I'm gonna go with a rental that everyone was like, this is the best trade of the world. They're getting they're getting the guy who just wins, who just throws, who just posts, and is not posts. They get a guy who terrified my 24 Dodgers in the postseason in the back end of that bullpen. A Braves team that has been kind of struggling as of late to get what they need to do. Give me Freddie Peralta, fastball Freddie, and Luke Weaver to the Atlanta Braves. You have a new night shift in the back end of the bullpen. Dylan Lee, who's been one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball, in the back end of the bullpen. Raisel Iglesias, who's an all-star. Robert Suarez, who was an all-star snub in my opinion because he had a sub-1 ERA this year. And then you add Weaver, who's been dominant. There's been so much talk, not in just recent history, specifically this year as well, about Braves pitching injuries, specifically the starting pitching staff. And I know as much as our buddy Daniel Kaufman, shout out Daniel Kaufman, has loved seeing Martin Perez shine for the Braves because he had him on his fantasy team. You cannot consistently count on Martin Perez in the postseason. You're starting to get some guys back, but imagine if you had Sale, a mix of Sale, Elder, Holmes, and a guy like Freddie Peralta in that rotation. The I know in division trades are crazy. A true the Athletic report came out that they were planning to start approaching the Tigers and the Mets about even Skubal and the Mets about Bo Bichette, which I don't like that trade at all for the Braves, and I don't think they should do that. I think a trade for Freddie Peralta and a guy from the back end of the bullpen makes sense. So you guys get the right-handed bat in the outfield you've needed, and Taylor Ward, who is a rental. The Braves get a starting pitcher they need to pair with Sale. To me, those are two of my more fun trades that I generally have a lot of confidence in. I think the Mets are open for business. I think the Orioles should be open for business, and the Mariners could sneakily, I think, if we're being honest, fleece the Orioles. And those are my last 2 trades of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the Mets Brave one. First of all, Luke Weaver is such a freaking Mariner. Second of all,
Yeah, I already regret every word I've said in the past 5 minutes.
I actually love that trade. I think that's great, to be honest.
The Braves, the Mets.
I think the Braves could provide the Mets with some future value. I think the Mets are going to trade all their rentals, very obviously. I think the Braves want to become a better team. I think the Braves want to make sure that they're better than the Phillies. I think the Braves, this is a big year for them. I think that makes so much sense on so many levels. And I kind of love it. Going on to the Mariners one. Like you said, Taylor Ward feels like such a Mariner. He started to unlock the power in the bat a little bit as of late. He's always felt like a Mariner. He's always felt like the perfect fit. Like if he had been anywhere but Anaheim,
Anaheim, I think
one
team
we don't trade with, I think he already probably would have been a Mariner already. So at this deadline, he really does feel like a Mariner. In terms of the bullpen arm, I mean, Rico Garcia would be awesome. To me, it feels more likely that Yennier Cano would be the guy that Baltimore trade. 2 less years of control than Garcia. They're the same age. And I think the Mariners would love Yennier Cano. So, I mean, that'd be the only change. I think that the Mariners, I don't know if Felnin would be the guy because he's been unbelievable this year in the minors. But, I mean, to be honest, like, I don't know if that's a Kirby trade necessarily, but, like, if they want Castillo, like, you could give them Castillo and, like, one of the, like, later 10s prospects. Like, I mean, to be honest, like, I don't know if I'd give up Las Montes in that trade, but, like, I don't know how much I believe in him. Like, you could have those discussions. Like, if there's more pieces in there, like, I think you could have those discussions, and I think that there could be something that works out. The lone thing is that the Orioles and Mariners just haven't really matched up on how they value players and trades.
That's
There were
a
the
good point.
talks with the starting pitchers a couple years ago that I don't know why the Orioles didn't do that. Whatever the Mariners
So
wanted, they should have just done it because they would be in a very different spot right now. Very different spot. Um, but from a Mariners perspective, like I would love it. I'd love
yeah,
both those guys.
yeah. I think for me, what really drew me to the idea of the one thing the Orioles fans and Orioles have complained about for the past couple of years is pitching. I mean, their offseason this year was Chris Bassett, Shane Baz, and others who I again love the upside of Shane Baz. He hasn't been what you wanted, especially at that extension price. You get a veteran guy for the back end of the bullpen for me, especially with Rodgers expiring. I think at the end of this year potentially. I don't know if that's true, but that's to me that makes the most sense. Do you have another trade for me? One final one, just at the top of your head, and we can call it a night.
If the juice is flowing
The
here,
juice is flowing.
I've one crazy trade.
Don't give me
Three
Chuck to the
team trade.
Phillies. Okay, I love this.
3-team trade. Mariners, Padres, National.
No, don't even. Don't.
Padres, I think, need more than I actually put in here, but they get 2 starting pitchers, Foster Griffin, Luis Castillo. Change that rotation. They also get J.P. Crawford, a leader that can play in the infield, could play at the DH spot for
The
them. He's a
Mariners would
leader in the
never trade
clubhouse.
JP.
I would trade JP. I would trade
And you're the
JP.
Mariners.
And I'm Jerry DePoto. The Nationals get Lazaro Montes and Nick Becker. Nick Becker's a second-round pick, I believe, last year out of high school. He's been all right in the Arizona Complex League. He's hit, has a little bit of swing and miss issues, but I think that the Nationals could get excited there about those 2 guys. The Mariners get their reliever, an Adrian Morejon, and their J.P. Crawford replacement in C.J. Abrams.
You know what? I think we've dreamed about CJ Abrams to the Mariners for a while now, and I think the asking price be a little bit more. I think the Nationals might need one more prospect, whether it be from the Padres, from you guys, but I don't hate it. And the art of the 3-team trade, existential baseball note here. Art of the 3-team trade has completely gone away.
Beautiful.
I mean,
I love 3-team trades.
I know we had that with like the what was it? The Rays pie. We had 2 actually. Sorry, bad.
The
You know what?
Donovan trade.
You know, was that 3-team too?
Yeah.
Who was the
Oh,
Who was the
the
third team in
Rays.
the
That's how they got Big
Ben
Ben Williamson.
Willie?
Uh-huh.
Sorry, so this is a bad baseball take by me
No,
because we
it
had
doesn't happen as much as it should.
even that we also looking back we had 3 in the offseason.
There's 3.
We had the
Wow.
Lux.
We have no ball knowledge.
We had the Lux, Brock Burke, Josh Lowe trade, Angels, Rays, Reds. we had the Burrows, Brandon Lau, Jacob Milton trade, Astros, Rays. Oh my God, hello, Pirates. Sorry. And your trade, the Donovan Cardinals Rays trade. Rays all involving all 3 of them. So if you want a 3-team trade, maybe you need the Rays in that deal just a little bit somehow.
4-team trade.
Would that be the
4-team
first?
trade.
Would that be the first in history?
That's gotta have happened at some point.
You know what? To close out the night, we're looking this up. Has there been a 4-team
I'm sure there's
trade?
been a 4-team trade. I don't know how that would shake out, but there's definitely been one.
Wow. So 4-team trades have occurred several times in MLB history, with the most famous and complex one taking place on December 8th, 1977. It involved 5 teams. The New York Mets, Texas Rangers, Pittsburgh Pirates, and Atlanta Braves. It's a massive deal that's an 11-player transaction. That's the main piece was sending Burt Blyleven from the Texas Rangers to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
What?
The more you know.
That's crazy.
I'm now looking at the MLB.com page, and they don't have his transactions. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Wow.
That really helps.
What a way to end the night.
Wow.
5-team trade with Burt Blyleven. Wow.
That, you know what? That's just how baseball was played.
That's baseball.
And speaking of just being baseball, by the way, shout out whoever whose idea it was to have that Sandlot reenactment scene in the All-Star game. You know, I'll admit it. I'm not afraid to say it. Made me cry a little bit.
Man, there's no crying in baseball.
There's no crying in baseball, but there is at that scene. At that site.
In the All-Star game, there's crying.
And also the All-Star game when my GOAT, Cody Bellinger, was the All-Star MVP. It's crying. What? I'm sorry, it was never gonna be Randy Rosarena.
Hey man, he had a single.
I do love Randy. Randy's my guy. I
No,
remember
trade him.
before. We've been wrong.
Sorry.
Yo, no, it's okay. He's right there. Shout out.
All right.
Shout out, Randy.
Shout out
Oh,
Randy.
wait, before we go, actually, I'm going to show you one thing. One thing.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Obviously, he doesn't know about how Randy just doesn't hustle in the outfield, about how he takes over the whole left center gap. Randy's a great guy.
Randy's a great guy. Mahal, this could be yours someday.
Oh, heck no. Get that out of my face.
But look, it
That's
opens
pretty
up,
cool, actually.
and it has the actual ring, the second ring, too. I have fat fingers, so it doesn't have.
That's pretty cool, actually.
That's pretty cool.
That's
This could be yours one day. The Empire. Seattle Mariners 2028 World Series champs. I'm calling it right here.
Don't worry, I called 2027 when I was in 6th grade. It's happening.
Well, that's if we have baseball next year.
We're having
Oh!
baseball. We're having baseball. We'll win the 2-month season.
Played in November, December.
No. August and September. Those are our months.
Another COVID year.
God. 60-game season.
60-game season. Who's MVP? And AL. Go real quick. Random. Give me your random AL and
This is where pitchers come into play.
During a 60-game season.
Bryce Miller.
Get out.
0.001 ERA. No, in all seriousness, Julio Rodriguez. Mariners win the World Series. Julio Rodriguez MVP. He has 2 good months.
And then you become the Dodgers of baseball because they're gonna call you the Mickey Mouse ring.
Yeah, it's not a Mickey Mouse ring because it's the Dodgers' fault, though.
Getting into this. We're not getting into this at 12:26 when Brett Phillips gave the baseball one of the best moments in history with that game for a walk-off. Mahal, thank you for joining me, man. Genuinely, it's always so good to see you. School can't come soon enough. With a lot of exciting things.
That's too true.
Hype for that. Hype for dude. Sorry, one last thing. I was very sad. My internship, I'm helping out with a wood bat league for college players. Lucas Perez, shout out, played last year. Didn't play this year, was sad. Our guy, your guy, Briggs, is playing with another San Diego team in another league. And there was hope. There was hope that he was going to be in our league, and there wasn't.
I'll follow Briggs Ellis wherever I go.
Me too. Shout out, you guys. Thank you so much for staying with us. Shout out Briggs Ellis. Shout out Mark Ellis. Great guy. Great family.
Shout out.
Mahal, any last things from you? Any final deadline words?
Luke Weaver, Taylor Ward, Mariners. That's all I got.
That's all you got. Derek Super Bowl Dodger. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Talk Baseball Podcast. We're excited to be back. We'll do a deadline react episode. We'll do a season, a playoff prediction episode. Excited to be back. Joined by Mahal Domingo-Anderson, my guy. Live with Michael Herrera. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.